Well, the bust we now know was bought by Billy Peterson of Racing Green Pictures, who are making a biopic of Mary Seacole's life right now. And I'm delighted to say Billy joins me on the line from America with the dews still on the ground. Is that right, Billy?
That's correct, Anna. Thank you for having me. Yes, it's early here.
I bet. Well, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on your purchase. How did that auction feel for you from your end?
Well, there wasn't much sort of buildup. I was on the phone with my representative at the auction house, Dominic Winters, and I thought, okay, well, here we go. And immediately, the price started shooting up, and so I hung in there, and I knew on the phone, I knew when I was getting into the auction that I wanted this piece, for the film. It was very important for the film, and I felt very strongly about that. And so I held my nerve and, saw it through.
You did indeed. But of course, there'd be people saying, well, surely you could have, had one created or had something. Why was it so important to have the bust in the film that you're making about Mary Seacole? Right.
So I heard about the auction and the piece, I think, through press. They were advertising this auction. And I thought to myself, as a filmmaker, this would be absolutely amazing to use the piece in a scene and then, add some history to it. Not only is it authentic, but it would actually be featured in the film, and that would give it even more sort of, kind of gravitas, right? And then we could do something with it afterwards. And so I just, I went for it. It just, to me, I saw it all clearly in my head coming across with Count Gleichen and Mary, and she's sitting with the bust, and it was just so perfect. So I felt, just completely inspired to go out and get it.
So tell us about the film project then. You're sort of in the middle of it at the moment, aren't you? How did that all come about?
Right. 5 years ago, I was given this script to read about Mary Seacole, and I had not heard of her prior to this. I read the script, and I was completely blown away by her story. And I immediately was like, this can't be real. This is exaggerated. This is sort of an exaggeration of a historical figure. And then I went and I did some of my own research, and I realized, oh my gosh, this is, this really happened. This is her life and her journey. And I knew right away that I wanted to make this film. I was going to make this film. I was committed. I went full bore for it. And here we are. And it's been a long sort of winding road. But here we are. So.
Yeah. Funny enough, when we were talking about her life last week ahead of the auction, there was a part when I asked, did she ever come across Florence Nightingale? Did they come across each other? And they said, well, funny enough, there's a, yes, they did. They met sort of briefly. And as they were describing it, in my head, I was going, that would make an amazing film. And as I said it, they said, there's a film being made about that very thing right now. It just shouts to be told, doesn't that, really?
It really does. Her story is so universal, overcoming so many different challenges. Her perseverance, her strength, her independence. All of those elements just make for an amazing story. And where she was doing it, the Crimean, the UK, London, this time period, all of that is visually just really tremendous to put into a film. So I couldn't be more ecstatic that myself and Racing Green Pictures were behind this, and we're really, putting all of our efforts into bringing this to audiences around the world, because it's just such an important story. And we really feel like it's it's an epic journey that is going to come across it's just going to be stunning once we're finished.
Yeah. Well, the timing arguably could not be better in telling, her story, and she was voted, an extraordinary Black Britain, and yet it's obviously for filming at the moment, presumably very complicated. Different countries during the pandemic. How has that been?
Right. Yes, it's definitely been extremely complicated. Multiple countries involved. Obviously, no physical production is happening now, but that's really actually worked in our favor because we've been able to kind of step back and really look at the film holistically before we move forward and reorganize a bit and kind of get a little bit tighter in terms of our our creative direction, which I'm really excited about now. So, my feeling with this film when I acquired it was, prior to COVID and prior to everything going on now, was this is a universal film. It is going to transcend sort of your everyday entertainment options, and it needs to be told. And when it comes out, it's going to come out and it's going to be, amazing and fantastic. And it will transcend everything else out there, in this space, because it just is, it's real, it's a real story. And creatively, our vision with this film was shooting, kind of in wild places and remote places, and the different time period is going to, I think it's really going to bring her, an amazing amount of justice, and really kind of tune people into what she went through to accomplish her goals. I mean, I'm still fascinated by it every day.
Yeah, me too. Nothing was going to stop that woman, and that's the huge admiration that you find yourself having with her. Nothing was going to stop her.
And that's exactly the spirit that I kind of took over when I got into the film. I said, "Look, we're going to do this. This is, how could you not?" So.
How could you not? So what happens to the bust once filming is finished then? We understood it might go on display in the Florence Nightingale Museum, or is that still the case? Or do you know what's going to happen? Well, obviously you're the owner, but what have you decided as yet?
Well, I haven't decided anything. I mean, we're focused on how we're going to use it in the film first, and then the only decision I've made is, it will be on display in London. Obviously, the Florence Nightingale Museum and the Mary Seacole Trust exhibit are an obvious place for the bust to be displayed. But I really haven't made any further decisions. We've had some requests come in, and I've sort of been just kind of getting over the high of winning this piece, and now, trying to kind of rationalize how we're going to use it and all that good stuff. So it's been a really exciting couple of days and week.
Back to the toil. When are we likely to see Seacole out? The film, the biopic.
So I think we're looking at late 2021, probably. It depends on how much more filming we decide to do. We may add some things. We're planning on being back late autumn in the UK, and we're super excited about that. But it really depends. I mean, one of the good things about this moment in time with COVID is that we can start our editing process and do things we wouldn't normally do until the film is totally finished. So that's going to accelerate our timeline. But it really, as I mentioned, we kind of have stepped back and looked at this creatively, and we may do a couple things differently now. Certainly, now that I own the bust, it's kind of opened up a whole new dimension for the film. So I don't know. It's exciting times, Anna. it's exciting times, and we are really, really looking forward to sharing this with the world. And we're really excited to be bringing it home to the UK.
Well, yeah, well, we're excited too. So lovely to speak to you, Billy. Crack on, because we're looking forward to watching the film and also to seeing the bus when it goes to go on display. Lovely to speak to you. Billy Peterson, then, of Racing Green Pictures, who are making that biopic Seacole about Mary Seacole's life, complete with that bust then that went under the hammer in South Surney just last week.